It's Teacher Paul here, and today we are reacting to this Redeem here from Twitch. Come join us for this. This is the Scandinavian folk art. We're going to learn a little bit about it. It's from the channel called Prairie Public. Link is in the description if you want to check it out without my commentary, but come back to see my reaction to it as well. Thank you so much to Susan for requesting this, and let's go. Scandinavian folk art.
My name is Piper Fleck Blomqvist. I'm a Scandinavian folk artist specializing in Swedish dollmålning, which is also called Kurbits painting, and Swedish bonadsmålning.
Oh, bonad.
Dollmålning. What is dollmålning? Målning is the Swedish word for painting. Just like rosemaling in Norwegian is rose painting. Måling or måler is Swedish word for paint or painting. Dollmålning is folk art from Sweden that refers to the very big wall paintings, like painted wallpaper, that was done in Dalarna, Sweden, specifically
What did they paint here? Let me see closer. It's like a flower vase.
Things like painted wallpaper that was done in Dalarna, Sweden, specifically 1773 up until maybe the mid-1800s. Bonadsmålning describes the painting that was done roughly the same time period, although it started earlier.
On the clothing?
And went on longer. It's a similar type of wall painting that was done in the southern part of Sweden. And the word bonad is tapestry.
I thought bonad was the clothes. The Sami cloth, right? Bonad.
This was also a time in the 18th century and 19th century of the church having kind of a lot of presence in the lives of people. And this is how those two painting styles are similar. The painters, both in southern Sweden, bonadsmålers, and the dollmålers up in Dalarna, they had a Bible that had pictures of different stories, Old and New Testaments. They would use those pictures and paint those on the walls. So in northern Sweden, or the Dalarna painting, and there was always this big Kurbits flower, and it is Swedish for gourd, and it first appeared in one of the Swedish language Bibles. In southern Sweden, the bonadsmålers, they used those same stories, but that big Kurbits flower is not present. They told them not in one giant picture, but almost like a comic strip, scene after scene after scene.
That's so cool. It's like a movie.
Right or right to left, depending on where the head of house was going to be seated.
That's so cool.
I've dived quite heavily into the history of this particular art form in Sweden and how it evolved and why it's so unique to these two areas of Sweden. And here's another thing. Why am I interested in this? The chemistry of pigments and the
chemistry of pigments.
Of pigment use is fascinating to me. And these artists had access to a lot of interesting pigments. A lot of them, they made their own paints. I can make my own paints. I know how.
That is nice.
I'm much more comfortable using acrylic paint. When I paint, I try to be faithful to the way they did it originally sometimes, not all the time. I just can't go too far. There's a point where if you go too far, then suddenly you're not following this anymore. Then you're not part of this tradition anymore.
This is nice. Such a beautiful art.
One of my favorite paintings that I've done that I had in my mind for many years has been brewing in the back of my head, always there, how am I going to do this? I wanted to do a piece on my hometown. A very small town in Minnesota, population 44.
Minnesota.
A lot of the things that we did in that.
I was picking up the accent. Have you guys ever watched Fargo? Kind of, she has the Fargo accent, especially when she said Minnesota.
A very small town to do this. I wanted to do a piece on my hometown. A very small town in Minnesota, population 44. A lot of the things that we did in that town are
44.
universal truths for other people who have lived in small towns in rural upper
That's a neighborhood. Wow, a population of 44 in a town.
Midwest. One of the things that the Bonad's-Mahlers and the Dahl-Mahlers both did was there was script across the top describing the story, and sometimes there was script in the painting itself. So if there was an activity happening down in one corner, the artist might put a couple of words above that activity describing it. And my dad owned one of the two bars, and one of the things he and many of the bar owners in our area had was this Ham's beer sign above the cash register that was moving, and all of us loved to watch that moving beer sign. It was mesmerizing as a child, and it's still mesmerizing to this day in my mind. So I had to include that little tiny picture of the Ham's beer sign above my dad's bar, but you wouldn't notice it if it weren't for the fact that I ended the script with, "Oh, how I wanted to live in that enchanted little tent."
Aww. That is a beautiful piece right there that she did. And it tells a story. It also shows history. And it's also a way of capturing her, her upbringing and her history. I feel like people who see this in the future will kind of feel like, wow, this is a piece of history right here. Really cool. And by the way, the Minnesota accent sounds so Canadian. Have you noticed?
I'm not a production artist. That being said, if I've already gone through that process and have come up with something and sketched it, I can repeat that over and over and over again. That's what the old painters did. They had their pre-designed, preconceived ideas. Here you go, farm wife, pick out which one you want. That one, got it, I'll work on that right now. And I don't know that there was a lot of thought process. For me, there is definitely, and my best work is work that I do for me, because when I paint, honestly, it's coming from here. It's me having to come out.
Nice. I think that's the best
Funded
way
by
of
the North Dakota Council on the Arts and by the members of Prairie Public.
Good job, good job, good job. I feel like for you to truly make art, you truly need to put your essence on paper or on the canvas over there in this case, because you can't truly create art without making it personal. I don't think so, because art comes from a very personal place. That was really nice, really beautiful. And the fact that she is a foreigner, right, doing Scandinavian folk art shows how intriguing this art form is. So that's pretty cool. And the fact that she mastered it is another great great testament to what a beautiful art this is. Thank you so much, Susan, for requesting this. And guys, if you want to request a video, go over to Buy My Coffee, or if you want to redeem a video, go over to Twitch. And if you want to watch reactions to full movies, series, shows, concerts, go over to Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. The link is in the pinned comments. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.